The following is a special presentation by 11Alive News. The investigators explore why.
This is one of the most horrendous things that I've ever seen in my career as a forensic pathologist.
A nursing home resident essentially eaten alive.
I don't understand how anyone could allow a human being to suffer needlessly.
How did this happen?
This is something that you would expect to see on a pirate ship in the 1400s.
Why it could impact you.
Failed to maintain lane, so
27 DUI related cases.
You're having a hard time standing up straight. What's going on?
I'm
You're
fine.
all over the place.
All of them dismissed by one judge on one day.
This is the first time I've seen anything like this.
Police and prosecutors believe these drivers are guilty.
You see driver's license? I'm not allowed to drive it. Somebody good.
Then why are you driving?
Well, because she's more drunk than I am.
So why were they let back on the road?
Did anyone in your office make a mistake that led to those 27 cases being dismissed?
Can he pull a gun out on us?
A combat veteran disarms a stranger waving a gun, but it's the veteran who's arrested.
I was charged for a felony of possession of a firearm during commission of crime for his gun. And then
Wait. You were charged with a crime of possessing the gunman's gun, the one you took away from him?
Exactly.
Is there an irony that the only one to call the police is the only one who went to jail?
Here at 11Alive, our team of investigators go beyond reporting the headlines of the day. They explore stories that can effect change. Over the next 30 minutes, see how our investigations are having an impact by holding the powerful accountable.
Tonight, we go in depth on 3 investigations already drawing millions of viewers online on 11alive.com.
And we begin with the horrifying death of an elderly woman, a resident in a nursing home.
One medical examiner says he believes she was essentially eaten alive by parasitic mites. We want to warn you, the pictures you're about to see are graphic, but the family wants you to see them to prevent what they say is a problem plaguing Georgia nursing homes. When the call to serve during World War II came, Rebecca Zini wanted to do her part.
When I think of Miss Zini, I think of one of the recruiting posters for the women in World War II.
She served her country while working in the Norfolk, Virginia Naval Yards. Later, she pursued a modeling career in New York City.
A beautiful lady.
While Zini lived the American dream, her family says her death was a nightmare.
I don't understand how anyone could allow a human being to suffer needlessly.
Mike Pierrotti and Stephen Chance are attorneys representing Zini's family in a lawsuit against Pruitt Health, which operates Shepherd Hills Nursing Home in Lafayette, Georgia, where the 93-year-old lived. According to their pending lawsuit, Zini died in 2015 from a scabies infestation at the facility, as confirmed in this autopsy report. The suit claims staff knew about the scabies for years, but failed to do anything about it. Scabies is a painful but treatable skin condition caused when parasitic mites burrow into your skin, lay eggs, and survive off your body.
Her hand is blackened and almost about to fall off.
I mean, it's like, what the hell?
We asked forensic pathologist Dr. Chris Sperry to review Zini's autopsy report. He's the former chief medical examiner at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
This is one of the most horrendous things that I've ever seen in my career as a forensic pathologist.
Sperry estimates hundreds of millions of mites were living inside Zini at the time of her death. So it's not an exaggeration to say, to some extent, she was eaten alive.
Having seen what I've seen with Miss Zini, I think, frankly, that is a good characterization. I would seriously consider calling this a homicide by neglect.
This 2015 report confirms the Georgia Department of Public Health knew at least 35 residents and staff contracted scabies at the nursing home. How did the state respond? On June 4th, a health department employee simply emailed a manual to the facility on how to treat scabies, but never personally inspected the facility, nor is it required to do so. 11 days later, Zini passed away.
There's no doubt that this was very painful to her. This is really intensely horrible.
State health inspection records show this isn't the first time someone has accused the Pruitt-owned facility of neglect. In 2014, 15, and 16, inspectors found nearly 36 violations, like medication errors, failing to maintain equipment, and putting residents in immediate jeopardy. Each year, the Georgia Department of Community Health threatened to withhold Medicaid funding if it didn't fix its problems. But the facility stayed open, collecting millions from taxpayers. Over the past 2 years, the facility cashed in $7.1 million from Medicaid. Today, its Medicare rating is 1 out of 5 stars, much below average, the lowest score the agency hands down. Of the 56 nursing homes owned by Pruitt Health in Georgia, nearly half are rated below or much below average.
So we've got 50 copies of.
Kathy Floyd is the executive director of the Georgia Council on Aging. Should taxpayers expect better?
I think they should, but what they have to do is they have to demand better.
There's always going to be winners and
So we went to Representative Sharon Cooper, the chairperson of the Health and Human Services Committee in the Georgia House of Representatives. She declined to say whether Pruitt's low-rated facilities deserve taxpayer money. Instead, she attacked Medicare's rating system, she says is calculated on a bell curve.
There is no way that we could ever have all 5 stars or all 4 stars. What I would say is the feds need to throw that system out.
So if we can't trust the federal government's rating system, can Georgia do something to help Georgians?
I would look at that and see if DCH can do its own ranking. I'll have to ask.
I think that's a fair
No, that's
question.
a fair question.
Representative Cooper just said that the public can't trust Medicare's own rating system. So what's Medicare's response?
You know, we reached out to Medicare and they say it is fair. They rely on a lot of data from inspection reports that the state conducts. So,
Andy, what's Pruitt's response out of all of this?
We've tried to reach out to Pruitt multiple times, calling, emailing, even sending a certified letter. No response.
Thanks, Andy. Up next.
Are you drunk?
27 suspect DUI cases thrown out of the courts in one day.
That's very disturbing. We have an expectation that the facts of the cases related to DUI will be heard.
And we wanted to find out why.
Did anyone in your office make a mistake that led to those 27 cases being dismissed?
Do you have a tip? Something we should look into? Email us at theinvestigators@11alive.com. We all know drinking and driving is dangerous. So when I heard about nearly 24 DUI-related cases being dismissed by one judge in one day, I knew something had to be wrong. Prosecutors and police, they all believe that these drivers were guilty. So why were these cases being dismissed before any evidence was heard by a jury?
Well, you had airbag deployment.
A car is a mighty big weapon.
Clearly you were going pretty fast.
That used carelessly can kill.
So how many beers have you had for real? 2.
368 people in Georgia died in DUI crashes in 2016.
Failed to maintain lanes. So.
That's why police are so concerned when they see someone weaving across lanes, driving the wrong way on a one-way.
Are you drunk?
Or hitting other cars.
You're having a hard time standing up straight. What's going on?
I'm
You're all over the place.
But even though police say this woman had alcohol in a 32-ounce cup and blew 3 times the legal limit on a preliminary breath test, her case was dismissed by Fulton County Judge Jane Morrison before a jury ever heard any of that evidence.
You could let me go to this St. Regis and I'd buy you everything that you wanted. I have an American Express. I have about a $7,000 limit. You can have whatever you want.
Ma'am, you can't bribe police officers, okay?
No matter how much this woman begged, she couldn't get the officer to drop the DUI charge against her. But Judge Morrison did dismiss the case, along with nearly 24 others that same day.
She was perturbed with the way things were progressing along in the courtroom.
Attorney Phil Pilgrim was in the courtroom and represents one of the drivers whose case was dismissed.
It's not uncommon for cases to drag on for 2 years.
Indeed, some of these arrests were as old as May of 2015. The state only has 2 years to decide whether to prosecute. Time was running out.
These are tough jobs.
So when Solicitor General Keefe took over the office, inheriting a backlog of 29,000 cases, he had to move quickly.
There are mountains of cases. There's only so much time in the day.
We still needed discovery.
Pilgrim says until he showed up that day in court, 2.5 years after the incident, he had never been given a copy of the police report, the accusations against her, or the results of her field sobriety test. Judge Morrison, seemingly concerned about due process and a defendant's right to a speedy trial, chose not to give the state any more time.
I think what it does is it shows that even the judicial system, when it comes to the judges themselves, they have finally gotten to a point where they have reached their level of frustration. This is the first time I've seen anything like this.
That's very disturbing.
Debbie Day, the state executive director of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, was also upset to hear about these cases. She promised to put a monitor in the courtroom to see what is going on.
We have an expectation that the facts of the cases related to DUI will be heard.
Without those facts, Day fears we'll see more drivers like Rashonda Renee Foster. She had charges from 2 DUI arrests dismissed that day in 2016, but Foster was back in court a year later. Police say they found 5 small bottles of vodka in the car, most of them empty. And again this year, Foster was arrested for another DUI.
The data shows that they have driven drunk on average 80 times.
80 times before they're caught.
Before they're caught.
Yeah, but I didn't see your driver's license. I'm not allowed to drive. It's not like that.
Then why are you driving?
Well, because she's more drunk than I am.
Turns out Michael Mayahoy was allowed to drive because in the 20 months since his last DUI arrest, the solicitor's office had yet to charge him for it.
Was I going fast? I mean, you had enough speed to rip your tire off the car. The whole tire?
In that crash, Mayahoy slammed his car into a utility pole and didn't even seem to remember. In fact, of the cases dismissed by Morrison that day, 7 involved a driver with a suspended license. 2 cases involved children inside the car, and 10 cases involved a driver with a history of DUI arrests.
Judges make mistakes, defense attorneys make mistakes, everyone makes mistakes.
Did anyone in your office make a mistake that led to those 27 cases being dismissed?
No, I think that there are so many competing interests in so many cases. It's very difficult to answer the question of whether a mistake was made.
Why are you doing this to me?
Because you've had too much to drink to be driving.
Rebecca, does the solicitor's office take any responsibility for this?
Not really. He says he can always use more prosecutors and that his prosecutors could certainly use more training, but other than that, he's pretty quick to defend their actions.
And what happens to these cases now?
They are under appeal, but that could take more than a year to work itself out, and there's a long legal process involved in that, and we've already established there's a pretty big mountain of cases that they're trying to deal with right now.
An Army veteran disarms a gunman, so why is the hero the one arrested? Up next, we explore the why.
He's drunk and he pulled a gun out on us. I disarmed him. Did he get shot? No, he didn't get shot. I kicked him in the face.
I want you to put that gun on the ground, okay?
I could have got shot today.
Yep, me too.
The guy who pulls the gun isn't the one who goes to jail that night. You go to jail.
Do you have a tip? Email us at theinvestigators@11alive.com.
A combat veteran saves lives when a stranger pulls a gun on him and his friends. Then why did the hero go to jail that night? We discovered Cobb County put the gunman and his guns back on the street even before the incident you're about to see.
Cobb County 911, what's the location of your emergency? Someone pulled a gun on me. This guy asked for a cigarette. We told him he doesn't have a cigarette. He's drunk and he pulled a gun out on us. I disarmed him.
Who has the gun?
I have the gun. It's disarmed. It has hollow points in it. It's a Glock.
I want you to stand there and I want you to put that gun on the ground, okay? Do not have it in your hand when they pull up.
this guy. It's on the ground.
Okay, tell them the gun's here and point to the ground, but keep your hands to where they can see them.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Where did that come from? It came from him bleeding from the head. The guy bleeding from the head? Yes, sir.
Matt Solon, the guy with his hands on the trunk, is the one who called police to the bar parking lot.
I knew I had to do something.
You could have been shot.
Right.
Your friends could have been shot.
Right.
Solon served in Afghanistan. One of his army buddies faced the gunman with him that night, Michael Loudermilk, son of Georgia Congressman Barry Loudermilk. The two military veterans and their dates told Kennesaw police they were confronted by a drunk man waving a gun.
Then I see him point the gun at us. So immediately, muscle memory, I go and I hit him in the face, elbow him, take the gun away, and then just beat him over the head with it till he was down. When I hit him over the head, the clip fell out, so I went and walked over, grabbed the clip, unloaded the weapon, and it was loaded fully with hollow points.
You essentially saved the congressman's son's life.
Yeah, everybody who was with me.
He just went after him and got the gun out of his hand. Defended himself, defended us.
Kennesaw officers quickly locate this surveillance video of the bar parking lot, which appears to show the accused gunman, Dwight Cooper, and his girlfriend stumbling over to the two couples. What are we seeing in this blurry video?
He comes up, asks us for a cigarette, gets mad, walks back, and that's when his girlfriend's flailing. And then he lifts up his shirt, pulls out a Glock, points it at us, and his girlfriend's still freaking out. So that's when I run up at him, disarm him, hit him over the head with his gun, walk away, and pick up the clip.
So then why was Matt Solon the only one who ended up in handcuffs that night?
I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. Okay, do you think people ever lie to the police? Is it possible?
I could have got shot today.
Yep, me too. That's my job.
I was in the military for 6 years. I think I know that.
Congratulations,
sir. I was in Afghanistan.
Don't go reaching in your pocket, man. You just
found a way to get thrown on the ground. Don't be stupid. I understand completely. You're not exactly being cooperative either.
I'm putting him in my car.
I mean, you guys wouldn't even be out here if I didn't call you.
Look at it this way, man.
I'm done talking.
Anytime we show up on a call, we have to do what we can for safety reasons until we can safely ask everybody questions. We got one guy with a gun, one guy bleeding, so we detain, and we wait till everything calms down, then we start asking questions and kind of figure out what happens in the scenario, just so you know why you're sitting back here.
No, I have no idea why I'm sitting back here. It doesn't explain anything.
Good luck with that guy.
That's why he's back there. I don't know who he is.
He says, I saved their lives. I don't know why I'm back here. Y'all aren't doing your damn job.
And all I know is he's the last one to touch the gun.
Matt, step on now.
Yes, sir.
I had him under control, I feel like.
You had what under control?
The whole situation. I had him on the ground. I had him taken care of until the ambulance. I had it disarmed. And what else did you guys do?
All I'm told is that you're the last one to have the gun. You started touching your pockets and everything. I asked you not to, and you're like, hey, I'm the hero, or whatever you were saying.
Okay, sorry.
So.
I see your perspective.
I was charged for a felony of possession of a firearm during commission of crime for his gun. And then
Wait. You were charged with a crime of possessing the gunman's gun, the one you took away from him?
Exactly. It's an $8,000 bond.
In your view, is Matt Solon a hero?
During his initial response, that yes, I agree with that comment. I think when the second act was taken, that's where the lines crossed.
What second act? The blurry surveillance video we were given appears to show Matt Solon charging at the accused gunman, hitting him to keep him down, and then unloading the gun. And then it stops there. That's not the whole video.
No.
I just was wondering why you only gave us part of the video.
After this call, Matt Solon gave us the entire video. There's the initial incident. And then, 29 seconds later, this additional contact between Solon and the accused gunman. Did that appear to be punitive rather than defensive?
Yes, that's what I saw.
And then after I pick up the clip, I see Cooper's girlfriend trying to pull him out. So I reach over there and put my foot on him. Whenever the police looked over the video, they thought me putting the foot on him was me hitting him again and him being restrained.
This is stuff that you got to talk about with your lawyer. I can't.
I stopped the threat. We would have all been shot.
The Cobb County District Attorney refused to prosecute Solon, dismissing the charges because the combat veteran, quote, acted in self-defense and in the defense of others. The guy who pulls the gun isn't the one who goes to jail that night. You go to jail.
Exactly.
He isn't arrested till the next month.
No, and he's giving his gun back.
Just got a little bit of a swollen eye, that's it.
Is he gonna be good?
Yeah, you're gonna be fine.
Why did I get it? What did I do?
I don't know. I'm trying to find that out.
Oh my God.
Dwight Cooper was drunk and disoriented when he woke up to find Cobb County police searching his car. The police report says officers found him passed out with his foot on the brake and the car in drive.
You want to tell us about the marijuana?
Huh?
You want to tell us about the marijuana? Marijuana. Weed?
An open bottle of vodka, digital scales, and enough marijuana to charge him with felony possession with intent to distribute.
Weed. Yeah.
Police also found a 9mm handgun. His bond conditions included not drinking alcohol, but the box that would have prevented Cooper from legally possessing a firearm was left unchecked. In a sense, Cobb County put this guy back on the street with a gun to then face you and your friends in the parking lot. He should never have been there.
No.
Cooper ended up pleading guilty to the drug charge, and convicted felons can't own guns. So Cooper sold his guns to his own lawyer for $1. A judge signed an order turning Cooper's pistols over to his defense attorney, including the Glock from the open criminal case.
I want you to stand there and I want you to put that gun on the ground, okay? Do not have it in your hand when they pull up.
Okay, it's on the ground.
But now it's the vindicated hero who has to worry every time he sees an officer.
They're going to see this when they run my plate, that I've been arrested before.
For a gun-related charge.
For a gun-related charge, right. And they're going to think in their head, oh, this guy just had a good lawyer. He got off it.
Wow. So the case against the accused gunman is still pending. So what happened to the gun?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I mean, the defense attorney ends up getting the gun that's still evidence in the case. Once he realized that, he says he gave it back to police and it's now back in the police custody.
This combat veteran feels as if he saved Representative Loudermilk's son's life. So does the congressman have anything to say about that?
Yeah, the congressman agrees with that. Representative Loudermilk gave us a statement saying, note to the perp, pulling a gun on 2 Army veterans was a bad idea.
Thanks. And we'll be right back in just a moment.
If you have a tip, something we should look into, email us at theinvestigators@11alive.com.
Here's a preview to my investigation coming up Tuesday night on the Late Feed. Injured while in a recalled vehicle.
Next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital.
Hundreds driven by Atlanta City employees manufacturers say could hurt drivers.
Excuse me.
The 11Alive investigators on the hunt to find them.
So this recall could start a fire and have issues with power steering. So that doesn't sound good.
Holding the city accountable.
Were you surprised?
We were surprised.
Tuesday at 11 on the Late Feed.
You've just seen how our investigations are fueled by a mission to hold the powerful accountable by examining the why.
And we are just getting started. Thanks for joining us.
Do you have a tip? Something we should look into? Email us at theinvestigators@11alive.com.